So what's the quickest and easiest way to increase conversion rate? If I have my site, I'm just like, man, I'm not converting like I want. Like, what do I do to get a quick victory?
Yeah, so I can answer that question, and I will. If I take a step back, when it comes to conversions, truly when it comes to conversions, there's not a one size fits all. And I promise you, if you really get into the heart of a lot of major D2C companies who are converting so well, and you ask them, like, how did you get to this point? 90% of the time, it's test, optimize, test, optimize, test, optimize. And you would think where we're at right now, there should be a playbook, a framework that, hey, just do these 10 things, you're done. But it's not that case, because you have one site where a certain layout, a certain type of copy, etc., works perfectly. You take that same thing to another website and it won't work. And so I will answer your question. I will say that there is a thing or two that you can do right now to increase your conversions. But most importantly, first is learning and listening to the customers or the potential customers.
Know your audience.
You've got to do that. So there's definitely ways to do that. For example, you can do user surveys on the site. So you can find out why somebody landed on the site, what they're looking for. If they bounce or exit, you can find out why they didn't purchase. Things like that are very important. Having like live chat on the site to get quick feedback from customers or potential customers on what's working for them or not. You can do like screen records and heat maps and things like that. Pretty easy to get that data now, but you have to actually listen and learn and see what your current and potential customers are looking for, what might be the roadblock keeping them from purchasing or repurchasing. And that sounds like, I'm big on execution. I'm big on getting things done. And sometimes when I think of like, user research, I'm like, oh, come on, let's actually just get to it. Let's skip that step. And I get that. I think a lot of business owners are probably that way, but that's an incredibly important step to listen, learn, understand what's working and what's not, so that you can then, after you've learned, you can test. You've got to test things. And there are some standards, like generally, like for example, carousels, like a rotating banner on a homepage, pretty much the whole CRO or conversion rate optimization world knows those don't work, and let's not do that. So we do have some standards like that, but after that, there's a lot of things that, hey, really work really well for one brand and don't work for another brand in another instance. So you've got to test multiple things to see what works and continue to optimize.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Like, one of my buddies, he does like 50 million a year with e-commerce sites, and he was like, I set up this one brand, we did 20 million in the first year, so I copied it with another brand, did the same exact things, and no sales.
Wow.
Didn't take off at all. And so he's like, I don't know why, man. He's like, I'm supposed to be the expert, and I don't even know why.
Right.
So it's like testing, knowing your audience. And even you worked with Aaron at Monk, MONQ, which was a huge brand. And I asked Aaron, what made you guys so successful with this? And he was like, I was completely obsessed with the audience. Just like all hours, we're just thinking about what can we give the audience the best quality product and experience when they hit that site, shopping experience.
Well, and on that too, to be honest, what came to mind when I talked about knowing your audience and like live chat and things like that, literally Monk popped in my head. And this is no insider information. They've been very, very intentional about knowing their customers. They have happiness engineers, as they call them, and they try and get as much information from the customers in terms of pain points, challenges, what isn't going well, what can go better, to know their customer, and like you said, to really optimize things for their current and future customers. So that's a really important part. And sometimes we think that that's just customer service. That's not marketing. Marketing, knowing your current and potential customers is absolutely important to marketing.
100%. I just believe, it sounds cheesy, but I feel like you got to treat every customer like gold, like family, man. Like it's easier to keep a customer than it is, and it's easier to get a customer that's already bought to buy again than it is to get a new one. So treat your customers with love, man.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I did promise, like, what's one thing that you can do to increase conversions? I would say if I were to pick, literally internally, we call it the toolbox. We have a CRO or conversion rate optimization toolbox where this is a toolbox of like all the things we have to work with. It doesn't mean everything's going to work, but we know, okay, bring this in, test, bring this in, test. I would say for many companies and brands, from a CRO standpoint, is if you're not doing post-purchase upsells, that's a big opportunity to not just increase your conversion rate. Technically, it doesn't increase your conversion rate, but it increases your AOV, or your average order value, and it can directly increase your profitability. So
don't do that either. They don't do a post-purchase upsell.
Yeah, and the tools have made it so easy. It's easy to do on Shopify. It's easy enough to do on WooCommerce. If you have any decent traffic and you're getting some purchases, doing a post-purchase upsell is a direct opportunity to increase your AOV and your bottom line. So that's one thing I would say. Almost everybody should implement if you haven't implemented it yet.